Hello and welcome back to Asia Now. My name's Alex, and in this video I'll tell you about why does the US want Quiboloy sent back to America, Apollo Quiboloy and co-accused plead not guilty, Philippines president's birthday, more Chinese nationals getting into trouble in the Philippines, plus much more, beginning with our USD to peso exchange rate. $1 equal to 56 pesos as of right now. Take a second out of your day. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Here's our main story. The United States may soon lodge a formal request for the Philippines to return over wanted trafficker Apollo Quiboloy, a Justice Department official said on Friday. Quiboloy, who recently surrendered after a 2-week manhunt by authorities, is facing abuse and people trafficking charges in the Philippines. He's also facing trafficking and cash smuggling charges in the U.S. and has wanted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation since 2021. I quote, "As of now, we have not yet received an extradition request. However, Secretary Remula is aware that an official request from the U.S. is on its way." DOJ Undersecretary Nicholas Tai said extradition request from the U.S. would first be sent to the Department of Foreign Affairs before it's forwarded to the Department of Justice. The Philippines government will have to scrutinize if the case involves an offense covered by the country's extradition treaty with the U.S. If it does, I quote, "a case will be filed at the regional trial court where it will be determined if Pastor Quiboloy should be extradited," Tai said. After dodging the Philippine authorities for several months, Quiboloy was taken into custody on September 8th. Interior Secretary Ben-Hur Abalos first announced that the Doomsday Preacher was arrested, but later clarified that he surrendered to the military intelligence agents after being cornered. Quiboloy counts among his allies former President Rodrigo Duterte and Vice President Sara Duterte, both of whom have repeatedly condemned authorities' attempts to arrest him. The former president has taken over Quiboloy's assets after a freeze order on KOJC founders' bank accounts. If you don't know what an extradition is a formal procedure where one country transfers an individual to another jurisdiction where they are accused or convicted of a crime. Besides the United States, the following countries have an extradition treaty with the Philippines, according to the Department of Justice. You can take a look at those things there. Very interesting, because in this article now it said that they've said that he surrendered once he was cornered. Once again, like yesterday, I personally don't care whether he surrendered or he was caught. That's not the point. But I am curious to see if they're going to go through all the procedures in the Philippines first, or is going to be sent back to the U.S. So, I mean, how does that even work? Like, let's say you're accused of crimes in both countries. I would assume that your original country of origin, that you're national and citizen of, would take precedence over the extraditing country, right? Maybe one of you guys watching this is a lawyer or knows a lot more about this than I do, because I would assume the Philippines will have first go at Quiboloy. Next up, 2 Chinese nationals allegedly involved in illegal activities within the Philippines. Offshore gaming operator in Porac, Pampanga, have been indicted for trafficking and taking people without their consent. In a 14-page resolution dated August 30th and released to the media on Thursday, September 12th, the Department of Justice formally charged Jiang Shi Guang and Qin Ren Guo for allegedly committing the unlawful acts against the Chinese workers in the Porac-based Pogo Hub, Lucky South 99. This, once again, nothing very new. Every day seems like we get these Pogo situations, people being arrested, indicted, and accused of mistreating their staff, mainly being illegal immigrants into the country from various different places around the world, and not being treated well and operating without the proper licenses. Next up, happy birthday to the Philippines president, and on his birthday, he did something really kind for the people. On the president's birthday, he pledged to cover the hospital bills for patients in government hospitals. The Department of Health will allocate 328 million pesos to 22 tertiary hospitals across the country to support this initiative and ease the burden on patients. Hey, that's kind of cool. You know, birthdays usually are days where you get gifts. In this case, the president gone ahead and tried to release some of the medical bills for those people that actually qualify for this. One thing I want to mention, I mean, kind of a weird thing. It's not even a thing, but I think birthdays, as I get older, become a little bit like less significant. For me personally, at least. Let me know in the comment section. Do you guys still celebrate your birthday? Maybe you can tell me how old you are, where you're from, and what do you do on your birthday. I'm kind of curious. Am I getting to that point where I'm getting too old to like enjoy birthdays? I just feel like at this stage, I kind of like can buy my own stuff. So, and my friends are all over the world, so it's hard to get together for dinner. Anyways, let's go on to our next story. Over 400 evacuated due to Canlaon volcano unrest. A total of 431 people have evacuated their homes in Canlaon City as of Friday, September 13th due to the Canlaon volcano's unrest. This translates to 144 families, according to the data provided by City Information Officer. The evacuees came from Barangay Pula, Masulog, and so on. The largest number of evacuees came from Barangay Masulong with 263 individuals. The Canlaon volcano remains under alert level 2. Said alert level 2 means that there's a moderate level of unrest with increased levels of things like volcanic earthquakes, sulfur dioxide emission, and much more. They've also set some curfews and orders of mandatory wearing of masks in that region just in case that volcano erupts. I've never been near a volcano, to be honest. I think one time I walked inside of one that's been like dormant. Is that a thing? Basically, they know it's not going to blow up. And it was like a little lake. I remember going for this like long hike. But I would imagine living near a volcano could be uncomfortable and like a feeling of unrest. You never know when it's going to like erupt and how fast the ash and the liquid lava will come down, plus the smoke. A lot of times is even worse than the hot ooey gooey stuff that comes down that volcano. Regardless, have you guys ever experienced a volcanic eruption? If you're nearby, yeah, I'm just curious to know if anybody's experienced it and what it's really like. And now it's time for a segment, Yesterday Today, where I read some of the most popular comments regarding our previous video. IOSARBX says, Asia Now, great video. Well, thank you. And if you guys think these videos are great, take a second out of your day. We're nearly at 5,000 subscribers. Help me reach my goal. Click that subscribe button, click that thumbs up button. Let's go on to our next comment. Eddie says, if buying land from a developer in the Philippines, one thing to check is if they have license to sell with the HLURB, Housing Land Use Regulatory Board. Excellent advice for those of you considering it. Please go ahead and follow that advice. Check with that agency to make sure they have the license to sell land. Usually land developers would have previous projects as well, so a good sign to see if they have like a nice track record. And lastly, Jess says, checking the ownership title and property lines of a lot here in the Philippines is easy done at any local assessor's office. Excellent. I'm glad some of you guys are mentioning this because for someone like myself that has no experience at all, to be honest, it would be like kind of difficult for me to even understand where to look for, what to look for if I were to ever try to buy land in the Philippines or any country for that matter. It's always difficult being someone that's not from that country itself, if that's not experienced so much, that hasn't bought property before anywhere probably. So yeah, good to get some advice from you guys and some tips, and leave your comments down below regarding any of the stories I covered today or we talked about. If you take the time to write it, I'll take the time to respond. And that's it for this video. I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, maybe next day. It is the weekend for me. If not, I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye. Quite the conundrum.